Thank you very much. Thanks for letting me come here. And I am representing COBOD, and I'm CMO. I've been with COBOD for the last year. We'll just give you an introduction. So we are world leaders in 3D construction printing, so bringing stuff to life that we just heard Ben talking about. So it's a bit more concrete. So this is also the hero that we have, we work with every day. It's basically just concrete, which we 3D print, and we'll give you some insights to that for the next 8 minutes. So a little bit about COBOD. We are based in Copenhagen as a headquarter, have a few regional offices around the world to service our customers. A turnover of around 13 million euros last year, and a pretty nice growth, about 100 employees, and we have sold about 50 printers worldwide with an average cost of $500,000 euros. It's more or less the same these days. We have some key shareholders, which are General Electric, Perry in Germany, and Holcim and Cemex. So pretty big giants that believe that this technology will change the world. So what is 3D construction printing? This is just to give you a quick snapshot of when we 3D print a building. So we sell the 3D printers as a turnkey solution. And this is a 2-story building we built in Belgium 3 years ago. And here you see the finished result. So how does it work? Basically, you have a batch plant where you mix your concrete with sand, gravel, aggregates, and cement. You push it through a pump and then through the hose into the 3D construction printer that then prints it layer by layer. So that's the simple way to do it. So additive manufacturing, so if you just put it in scale, so I looked up 3D printers, around 2 million 3D printers were sold last year, and just in comparison, there were probably sold around 50 to 60 3D construction printers worldwide, where we have probably sold a bit more than half of them. And it's very important to mention that this is at a very early stage. So 3D construction printed, we are just basically getting started. We started in 2017 where we built our first building, and now we see buildings mushrooming up all over the world. So compared with 3D printers, which are probably still at the early stages, we are at the very, very beginning. So our customers are among the very first innovators and entrepreneurs in the market. We very often in our sales pitch compare ourselves to the development of the mobile phone. So if you just compare to that, we are in the early phases of the 1980s, where you had a really heavy mobile phone, and then until the mid-90s, and where we are today with the latest iPhone. We see big perspectives of the 3D construction printing. So one thing is where we are today, and people will ask, how much does it cost? And I mean, one thing is to consider what it costs today. But what is really important are these people that can see this is somewhere completely different in just a couple of years. And I think we have proven that just over the last couple of years. So why should you do 3D construction printing instead of conventional printing? So from our perspective, it's about building smarter. For us, that is meaning building cheaper, faster, more sustainable. And then you also have the design freedom. So instead of building houses with squared corners, you can have round curves. So it's a dream for any architect, I would say. But we still have a long way to go. We can still make it much cheaper, much more sustainable and faster. And I will share with you just the latest development since we started 2017. So we started with very fine aggregates with a mortar mix. And this is a really busy slide. So that's what we call generation 1. You can see the CO2 per square meter, and what it consists of. It's mainly the binder and the cement that brings up the CO2 level, whereas the generation 2 concrete, which we launched last year, has reduced the CO2 emission quite significantly. And then we have something that we haven't launched yet, is actually where we bring down the CO2 emission with further 40%, and that's just happening in less than 2 years. So you just see the development, how fast this moves. I don't think we have time to go into the details of what makes the difference in the material, but I'm happy to answer any questions after the session, so you just get hold of me. Just want to show some of the examples. This is probably one of the famous ones, done together with one of our owners, Perry in Germany, where you really see the nice round curves. You also see the layers, which is a part of the architecture as well. So that's a part of the design freedom. People will ask about cost. We have one of our customers, HTL in UK. They are making these claims. We are a little bit more careful about claiming the savings, exact speed and sustainability because it moves all the time. But there's no doubt we will be much cheaper than conventional construction and building in just a couple of years. And it's not just residential houses. Actually, we believe that other application areas has a much bigger opportunity and upside. For example, wind turbines. So if you 3D print a residential house, it will only be a very small fraction of the total construction process and building that house completely that is actually 3D printing, whereas if we are 3D printing a wind turbine tower together with GE, it's a much bigger part of it. So we see much bigger gains in industrial application areas than just at residential, even though what we see on YouTube is mainly residential buildings. So who's buying this? Typically house builders, construction companies around the world, mainly in the US has been our main market, university, R&D institutions, cement and concrete manufacturers, and industry leaders like General Electric that also invested in COBOD. Some of the cases, we have Dar Alakan that recently printed the world's tallest 3D printed building. I think it was around 300 square meters. And I'm running out of time closely. This is the building you saw also in Germany, a 2-story building. We did a 3-story building also in Germany together with Perry. So these are just some of the projects. And finally, the projects together with General Electric, which I think is the most amazing one. If you 3D print the bottom part of a wind turbine tower, you can, if you take the bottom 20 meters and you lift the existing tower 20 meters, you can increase efficiency by 20%. I think that's pretty amazing and an achievement where you shouldn't just look at how much emission you see in the printing, but the actual results. So we will see that out in the market in the next year. Right now, it's in their R&D center. Our vision for the future, one of the last slides, we believe not only 3D printing construction, but our 3D printers can do so much more. What you see from this animation are some of the ideas, but we will have robotic arms that can do other parts of jobs in automation. So that's where we believe 50% of the construction on site can be automated. The big 3D printer we did for General Electric, you can see it has 2 axes, so it actually has a robotic crane that lifts off reinforcement between the layers. So we already see it implemented in the market, but that's what we see. So it goes beyond just additive manufacturing. That was the last slide. If you want to know more, get in contact with me. Here are the details. That was the end of the presentation. Thank you very much.